Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. I'm very happy indeed today. I think that everything has flowed by very smoothly, beautifully, wholesomely on this Kathina day. And it's one of the main festive occasions for a monastery. This year, this is the 40th Kathina festival we've had at Amaravati. The very first year that the Sangha arrived, they came here in August and they entered what they call the second Vasa, so they were here in time for the full moon of August. But if you enter second Vasa, then you can't hold a Kathina. So the first Kathina here, I believe, was 1985. And if I remember correctly, myself and Ajahn Sujito were the two receiving monks. And this building didn't exist. It was the old drafty school gymnasium. There's a few photographs. If you look in the book that we made for the 40th anniversary, there's a picture of Ajahn Sujito and myself, and Ruki Shilam with no grey hair, offering the Kathina cloth. So 40 years have gone by, just like that. And so I want to express my, first of all, just before going into Dhamma talk, I would first of all like to express my great appreciation for everybody who's helped to make this occasion come together. In the monastic community, as I mentioned, Ajahn Amaro every year, he's a great master of ceremonies, pulling all the threads together. Tan Manunyo was looking after being a liaison while Ajahn Amaro was in Japan for the Rains Retreat. Sharon looks after organizing the more than 100 volunteers every year. She's probably still organizing at this moment. I don't see Sharon's jacket in the room, so Sharon doing her wonderful thing, coordinating everybody, and Kun Somchit being the kind of the person organizing the offering for this year, this Royal Kathina offering, and then also the flower team, Yompam, and the magnificent, incredible flower arrangements. The peacocks landed in our cloister. Beautiful pink and purple peacocks that come together. The people in the kitchen, Kun Miao, and the great array of team members looking after the kitchen. And the Joshua taking care of the parking, as he does every year. Also, thank you to the weather gods for not turning the field into a lake. So, I do like to consciously acknowledge everybody who helps these things to happen, because it's not a small undertaking. Suvira was not in the office. She was contactable. She was coordinating everything, but she was helping to look after her very ill sister in Thailand and in Bali. So Suvira, I'd send her a message, and then 20 minutes later get a reply, and so she's not even on the site. So it's an incredible amount of effort and care goes into helping these events to happen on the administration, on the grounds, in the kitchen, with the flowers, with the temple, with arranging the ceremonies and making the offerings to help support the monastery. So sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We have the ceremonial expression of anumodana, but it also helps us to really feel it in the heart. Like, yes, anumodana, I rejoice in the good that has been done. Yes, a lot of good has been done, and the heart rejoices in that. Also, the team that has been working on the new sala, would like to mention Rachaya Karasuti. Not sure if she's in this building or still giving people tours around the new sala. The idea for the new sala began 5 years ago, October of 2019. We started looking for architects and thinking about it. So 5 years have gone by, and now the building is 99 point 9% there. So Rachaya and the team worked with heroic effort, incredible effort, to try and get things completed in time for today. So that the dream had been that we would have the temple and the new sala for our Kathina festival, but the world is not under personal control. We are not the owners. Rupang anatta, material form, is not self, does not belong to a self. So just the many things involved in a building project, the contractors, the supply of materials, just the flow of work, it was just physically impossible to bring it to a close in time. But I really applaud the great effort and incredible energy and focus that was has been brought together with that project, and with luck and a following wind, as they say, the completion will be on the 28th of this month. And so we aim to start using the hall shortly after that. So literally watch this space. Watch this space. So even though the Kathina is very much a Buddhist festival, and we call ourselves Buddhists. One of the things I was reflecting on today is what we might think is a kind of pointless question, which is, what is a Buddhist? We might think, well, I am. What is a Buddhist? So the word Buddha, the word we use to refer to the great teacher, the founder of this spiritual tradition, the great enlightened master, Gautama Buddha, who lived 2,600 years ago. When we use the word Buddha, we refer to that great being. But it's also very interesting why we use that word. And I quote this little passage from the suttas in many Dhamma teachings because I feel it's extremely significant. And once upon a time, the Buddha was meditating by himself out in the forest in the countryside, and he was in the woods. He'd left a dusty track and gone to sit down in the shade of a tree, and a Brahmin called Dona was walking along the same path, and he noticed the footprints in the dust, and he saw these footprints and thought, "This is very amazing. What kind of a being made these footprints?" Because they look like human footprints of a tall person, but they've got these symmetrical marks like wheels and conch shells and these clear symbols, these patterns that are made by the soles of the feet. What kind of a being could have made these footprints? So he thought, I better follow them and find out where they go. So he followed the footprints into the forest, and then he found the Lord Buddha sitting under a tree in the forest. And he was immediately amazed at this bright, peaceful, serene presence, the Buddha sitting meditating. And so Dona realized, well, this is some kind of extraordinary being. Wonder what this is. And as he knelt down in front of the Lord Buddha, then the Buddha seemingly opened his eyes, and then Dona asked, are you a deva? Are you an angel, an angelic being? And the Buddha said, no, that's not the case. Are you a Brahma god? No, I'm not a Brahma god. Are you a yaka, a celestial demon? And so he said, no, I'm not a yaka. Then I think fourth on the list, he says, are you a human being? And then very interestingly, the Buddha says, no. So he was born of human parents. He's an arahant. He cannot lie. He's incapable of telling a lie. And when he's asked the question, Manusosi, are you a human being? He says no. The exact way he spoke was to say, that whereby I could be known as a human being, a deva, a brahma, a yaka, or anything, that has been completely let go of. That has been completely abandoned, and there's no identification with the body, with feelings, perceptions, with thoughts and emotions, mental formations, or consciousness. So then Dona says, well, so what are you? Good question. Because there was a conversation going on. There was something some quality was present, and they were having a discussion, a conversation. So he said, well, excuse me, but what are you? And then the Lord Buddha responded, Buddhoti mangdareta. You can hold me as that which is awake. Buddhoti mangdareta. So my understanding is that particular dialogue is one of the main reasons we use the word Buddha to refer to the great being. So he said, I'm not a human being, but you can know me as that which is awake, Buddho. So that, a Buddhist, I would say, if we want to define the word, if you say I'm a Chauput, I'm a Buddhist, that means we are choosing to be awake, that we're identifying or acknowledging that quality, that capacity to be awake, to be aware. That's what makes us a Buddhist. We might have a badge or a robe or shave our heads, but if we're not awake, we're not aware, we kind of got the uniform of a Buddhist, but we're not actually being a Buddhist. We're not practicing Buddhism at that moment. Not to be insulting or intimidating, but I feel this is a very, very important understanding for us. That calling ourselves a Buddhist or a nun or a monk, saying, this is what I am, to call ourselves a Buddhist, it's not a new identity. It's not just a new kind of set of clothing or just a spiritual tradition to hang on to as an idea. It's a change of heart. It's representing an attitude, the way of seeing our experience of this life and of the world. So I would say that a day like today, the Kathina festival and all of the kind of meritorious, beneficial acts that have been done today in terms of generosity and taking the precepts, making offerings of many, many kinds, that these are the external aspects of being a Buddhist and having faith in Buddhism, but along with what we call amisa puja, the material offerings, then the Buddha also spoke about patipati puja, the puja, the offering or the gesture of devotion, which is formed from our practice, our embodying the way of the Buddha, living that way, essentially being awake. So this is also a kind of puja. When we think of puja, we think of making anjali, putting our hands together, bowing, chanting. But the Buddha spoke about pati puja, the puja of the practice as being something that was more profound, that was superior, more liberating than amisa puja, or making material offerings. So today is a day to rejoice in and to celebrate our faith in the Triple Gem and to recognize how much that is beneficial to our lives and the lives of beings around us. But I feel that one of the ways we can most usefully most helpfully use a day like today is to strengthen our intention and our efforts to be awake, to embody that Buddho. And any of you who've listened to Luang Por Sumedho's Dhamma talks knows he talks about this all the time. And kind of these days he doesn't really talk about anything else. He says, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, be awake, wake up now, be awake now. So it's a wonderfully clear, direct teaching that Luang Por Sumedho gives nowadays, like a laser beam. So, in terms of our lives, we can have the idea, yes, wake up, be awake, be mindful. Yes, great idea. And then somebody's phone goes off. Oh, don't people know how to turn their phones off? Suddenly we're getting angry with someone else. Or our phone goes off. And, oh my goodness, I forgot to turn my phone off. I'm such a fool, I'm such an idiot, I feel so terrible. So, at that moment, we're not being awake. We are being lost in criticizing someone else or criticizing ourselves. Just using a random example of people are checking their phones now. I'm not talking about you as an individual, it's just us as human beings. Yeah. So I did check mine before I came in. So we're all in the same position in this. So we have the capacity to be awake, which means when we find ourselves worried or irritated, excited, busy, the way our mind gets caught up in what we call the agati, the biases, loving, hating, fearing, having opinions. We get lost very easily in those forces, those habits of mind. But we can be awake. This is the great blessing, and this is why you'll hear Luang Por Sumedho saying, "Be awake, wake up, wake up," because I feel that the great power that we have as human beings is that we can watch our minds. That's an amazing thing. That's a superpower. And so when you have a mood of being really afraid, really anxious, and you think, "Oh my goodness, what am I going to do now?" So I'm not sure if Samahito is still here. There he is. A few days ago, we were, I think, traveling down to the Devon Kathina, and we were having a conversation about public speaking. And he said, "Oh yes, I've got to do the announcement at the Amaravati Kathina. I'm really, really feeling it." And I said, "Well, you've got your lines written down. You don't have to say anything spontaneously." He said, "Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter." And we've all been there. And so something happens in our life. We feel really afraid, right? Really anxious. So in that moment, that which knows. If we establish the heart in awakened awareness, if we embody that Buddho quality, then there can be a knowing of that anxious state. And that which knows anxiety isn't anxious. This is the escape hatch. That's the light over the door that comes on. That's the escape. That which knows anger, if we're really upset, somebody else's phone goes off. I told her already, turn her phone off, and she never listens. Then that which knows anger isn't angry. You can say, "Oh, that's an angry reaction." That which knows anger isn't angry. That which knows excitement, "This is fantastic, this is amazing, this is so wonderful, I'm so happy." Well, it might seem a bit sort of emotionally sort of suppressive or being sort of negative in terms of having a perspective on happiness. Sometimes people will feel, but more happiness is good. I want to be happy all the time. So being excited, being happy, surely that's good. But we can get drunk on happiness. I think people would agree. Like, "Oh, this is amazing. This is so good. This is so wonderful." And you can even be drunk on inspiration in Dhamma, Mao Tam. We can be over-inspired, over-enthusiastic, and even if it's something very wholesome, very beautiful, very noble, we can still get carried away. Mao Tam. That's probably a bad pronunciation, but I think the Thai people will know what that means. Drunk on Dhamma. Drunk on Dhamma. So, but that which knows that excited feeling isn't excited. It's peaceful, it's clear. That which knows happiness isn't happy in the ordinary sort of excited worldly way. In a sense, it opens the heart to a much more profound, much more complete happiness, the sukha, which is a profound peacefulness, ease, and contentment. So this, I feel, is a great superpower that we have as human beings. We can watch our moods and not follow them. We don't have to suppress them. We don't have to get rid of our emotions or our opinions or our feelings of attraction or aversion. We don't have to wipe them out or call them bad or wrong at all. But this is part of human life. We see, we hear, we feel, we smell, we taste, we touch, we think, we remember, we imagine. That's part of birth. That comes with our birth. But this great power that we have, and what is, I would say, the essence of being a Buddhist, practicing Buddhism, practicing the way of the Buddha, is to choose to be awake. So when there is a lot of fear or a lot of aversion, negativity, or a lot of excitement, or just responsibility, just not even particularly emotional, but just a long list of things to do, that the mind can get wrapped up in, that which knows responsibility or fear, desire, and agitation is not tied up with those things. It's not limited by those things. This which knows the person isn't personal. It's not female or male, it's not old or young. This quality of awareness has no nationality. It knows the feelings of femininity or masculinity, the feelings of happiness or unhappiness, sickness or health. But the mind which knows the sick body isn't sick. The mind which knows crazy thoughts is not crazy. And that's a really helpful insight. The mind which knows sad and depressed, painful thoughts isn't sad, isn't depressed. It knows those qualities, like today was a magnificently bland November day, like English non-weather. Not cold, not warm, not raining, not dry. Grey. Grey upon grey upon grey. It's very English, perfect English autumn day. I think like to call this English non-weather. So it's there. It has its effect. If the sun was shining and the sky was blue, there'd be a different tone. Today was a sort of grey, soggy day. That's its tone. And our minds can be the same. So you can know a grey, soggy mood in your mind, and that this which knows that mood, that tone, is not tied to it, is not limited by that. It's aware of it, it knows it, but it's not limited by that, not burdened by that. So this, I feel, is a wonderful capacity that we all have, every single one of us. And when I say these kind of things, then often people say, but Ajahn, you don't know my mind. Or, can I introduce you to my family? It's all very well to say that, but... And I said, well, we can take that thought and we can believe in it, but the mind which says, it's all very well for you to say that, but we can know that as a thought that arises and passes away. We don't have to believe in that. We don't have to believe the stories that we continually tell ourselves about our life, about the people around us. Oh, she's really wonderful. He's really awful. This is really good. That's terrible. And we take those judgments to be absolutely true, kind of 100%, 100% true. My chai, it's not so. They're just our own personal impressions that we are conditioned. We call this delicious, we call this disgusting, we call it beautiful, we call that ugly. With respect to the design choices for the new sala, and also we have plans to rebuild the monks' vihara, the bhikkhu vihara. That's another big project. After this one's finished, that's the next one. So I am notoriously easy to please, so I don't trust my own color choices. People say, what color would you like? And I think, well, and I'll suggest something, but always somebody else, other people have much better ideas. So I know that my own choices, or what I call good, is not the same as other people. And I think, well, let's try this, and people go, really? So tastes vary, our moods vary, and if we hold on to that feeling of, if I think it, it's true. If I judge it as good, it is good. If I judge something as bad, it is bad. That is the way to dukkha. Dukkha in the beginning, dukkha in the middle, and dukkha in the end. If, however, we can recognize, this is the mind making a judgment. This is the mind calling something beautiful, calling it ugly. This is the mind calling something good, calling it bad. The mind that knows those judgments it's not stupid, there's a wisdom there, but it's not limited by those judgments. It can work with the way that nature operates, attuned to the way nature works, and we're letting go of our personal biases. So this is what we call the development of insight. This is a great power. This is something amazing, wonderful, that we have in our lives. And most of us, it's like having a psychic power, a superpower that you didn't realize you had. Like in some of these superhero movies, people discover, oh my goodness, I can fly. I never knew. Oh my goodness, I have this great power. I didn't realize I had. I would say we all have that kind of superpower. We can all watch our minds. Another story just to finish with, again from the suttas. there's an occasion where Venerable Ananda was gathered with a group of monks in a hall in one of the monasteries, and he was telling the stories around the birth of the Bodhisattva, and how these kind of amazing, miraculous and wonderful things went on. And he was telling this group of the Sangha, saying, well, before the Bodhisattva was born, he was living in the two-seater heaven, and then when it was time for his birth in the human realm, he descended from the two-seater heaven and appeared in his mother's womb. When she and King Suddhodana conceived him as a child, she had a dream of a great white elephant with 6 tusks that appeared in this vivid dream. When she was pregnant, her mind became naturally pure. She had no unskillful thoughts. Her body was comfortable all the time. I haven't been pregnant in this life. Maybe in previous ones, I don't know. But my many conversations with women who've had children is pregnancy is not comfortable. There's a lot of awkwardness and difficulty along the way. But Queen Mahamaya, she had no discomfort while she was pregnant. And then when the Bodhisattva was born, she gave birth to him standing up, holding the branch of a tree in the garden in Lumbini. And with each of these amazing aspects of the Bodhisattva, Venerable Ananda said, this is a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Tathagata. And they said, but as soon as the Bodhisattva was born, then he was caught. The baby was caught by devas. Angelic beings caught him. As Mum was standing up. So these devas appeared, caught the baby, and then streams of cool and warm water appeared from the air, magically to bathe the newborn child. This is another wonderful and marvelous quality of the Bodhisattva. And then, as he was descended to the ground, lowered to the ground by the devas, then 7 lotuses popped up under his feet as he walked along. He stood up and started walking as a newborn baby, and then took 7 steps with lotus flowers popping up under his feet. And he was walking on grass rather than walking on water, and lotuses grow on water. So it was even more amazing. Lotus flowers popping up under his feet, a newborn baby already walking, and then he raised his hand in the air and said, I am the leader in the world, I am the foremost in the world. Again, as a newborn baby, this is amazing, incredible. So at that point in the story, then the master appeared in the Dhamma hall. And so everyone went quiet, as you would do. And when the great master appears, then the Buddha asked the group, as he often would do, so what were you talking about? What was the talk that I interrupted? When I arrived here, you were all having a conversation, so what was it you were talking about? So then Ananda, who had perfect recall, then recounted all of the different things that he'd said about the Buddha's birth, the wonderful and marvelous, incredible things around the events of the Bodhisattva's appearance in the human world in this last lifetime. So then the master says, would you like to hear something else which is wonderful and marvelous? Oh, yes. Okay, that was amazing enough what Ananda had to say. Now we're going to get some really interesting stuff. The master's going to give us some more miraculous stories. He said, and then, as he often did, the Buddha took what Ananda was excited about and then turned it through to be seen from a different point of view. So the Buddha then said, so when a feeling or a Vedana arises in the mind of the Tathagata, he knows this is a feeling arising, he knows it as it abides, he knows it as it fades away. This too is a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Tathagata. When a perception arises in the mind of the Tathagata, he knows this is a perception arising, abiding, and fading away. When a thought, when an emotion arises in the mind of the Tathagata, he knows this is a thought arising, abiding, and passing away. These two are wonderful and marvelous qualities of the Tathagata. So what he's saying to Ananda and to the group gathered there, it's like, walking and talking as soon as you're born, that kind of, it's unusual, but it doesn't really help anybody very much. What's really useful is that you can watch your mind. You can watch a feeling, Vedana, So maybe some of you are getting a bit uncomfortable. Wow, how long is this Dhamma talk going to go on? This physical discomfort, mental discomfort. Ajahn Amaro is really notorious for going on and on and on. He doesn't know how to shut up, even after all these years. How long is he going to go on? Should he be torturing us like this? Monks shouldn't torture people. That's not appropriate. So we can watch our minds. We can watch those thoughts. We can watch those feelings as they arise, as they take shape, as they fade away. So to me, that's a very, very significant teaching. When Luang Por Sumedho left here in 2010, after he retired, and I moved into his kuti, and I inherited all of the books he left behind. One particular book that is very wonderful collection of teachings called The Life of the Buddha by Bhikkhu Nyanamoli, and it's collected all the sutta teachings that relate to the life story of the Buddha. So Luang Por Sumedho had one particular passage highlighted, had underlined and with purple highlighter in that book, and it was exactly this story, and that paragraph where the Buddha says, this too is a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Tathagata, that he can watch a feeling arise, abide, and pass away. And that I think that walking and talking as soon as you're born, or having devas come along and give you a shower, that would get a few looks on YouTube or TikTok. If you had a film of that kind of thing happening, you get a lot of people clicking on that. But really, in a sense, that doesn't help other people very much. It doesn't help us a great deal. What does help us, moment by moment, day by day, is that we can watch our minds. When you're upset, you can watch it. When you're excited, you can watch it. When you're afraid, when you're busy, you can watch it. And that it doesn't mean that we, by watching things, doesn't mean that we just freeze ourselves or just go numb or don't do anything, but by not reacting out of our compulsions or habits, then instead of reacting in an unconscious, unmindful way, we can respond. So when we are uncomfortable, we think, well, that's a painful feeling. Doesn't mean that we don't do anything about it, but we know, okay, I've been uncomfortable for a while. It's about time to change my posture. So we adapt to the world. We do what we need to do. We go through our list of things to do. But the attitude that we have, the dasanakati, the attitude is very, very different. So we're learning to respond rather than react. It changes the world completely. So I have spoken for about 40 minutes now, so I think that's po samkwon. I do not wish to torture anybody any further, and probably people are ready for a cup of tea and to stretch your legs and to enjoy the rest of your day here in Amaravati. So once again, I wish to express my sadhu anumodana for everyone who has helped to make this a beautiful day, and please take the blessings that have come from today and let them brighten your lives and those that you share this life with. A1.